name of the show is The Way to Go. My name is Alan Bendich. I'm going to be your host. Tonight we have two of the stars of the last two scriptless short films. And we're also going to be working on another film by a buddy of mine. And it's the only two Zoom films that
I've
ever made. And it's going to be great. So we have the wonderful actress and producer, director, everything else, Debbie Twiss, excuse me, and close friend, great actor, Noah Forrest. Welcome to the show, guys and dolls.
You forgot to say all-around great guy,
All around great guy.
Thanks, because, I just can't go on without that. And, of course, it's great to be here with Debbie. So let's talk.
So, Deb, thank you for being part of all this stuff.
Oh, it's so fun. I mean, oh my gosh, to be able to just act in things right from my bedroom.
I know, right?
It's like, can't get any easier, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. And it's not very physical. I mean, it's like, your butt gets sore from sitting down so much, I guess. At least mine does.
Mine does. I noticed that. Like when I sat back down in the chair, I was like, ow.
I'm all right. I got a good cushion.
So where are you guys?
On the chair, I got a good cushion.
So where are you guys right now? Where are you guys located?
Well, I'm in Florida right now. Luckily, I escaped the city for a while, so feeling pretty good.
And Deb, are you in Jersey?
Yeah, I'm 12 miles from Manhattan in Glen Ridge. It's between Montclair and Bloomfield.
And I'm in Larchmont, Mamaroneck, where we film The Way to Go usually. So I'm home. We're all home, and I'll tell you, I was dying to act, and I was dying to do this show, and just this. It's really hitting the entertainment field dramatically, right? I mean, it's been terrible.
Yeah, big time. It's crazy. I mean, it's really bizarre.
So. I'm just so happy for Zoom, and I'm happy that LMC TV, which this show will be broadcast on, and also the short films, gives us the opportunity to give them a file, of the show.
Yeah.
Which will be enhanced by Debbie, because the second short film is going to be a little bit different than than most of the Zoom shows you see on TV now during the pandemic, right, Deb?
Time to up the game, yeah.
That's it. So Deborah, you're a producer, and you could you tell us a little bit about what you're doing? And I mean, you were on the show once before, but just remind everyone. Besides work, doing shows with Alan and Noah, what else is cooking?
Yeah, tell us about the real stuff you're doing.
Well, I was actually asked by somebody that read a script that I wrote back, I guess it was 2014. I wrote a script called Confidence Game. And I had been moving forward, getting a bunch of great actors attached to it and everything. And one of them was this guy, Antonio Zapata Jr. And he read the script, he loved it. But then the actual money that I got was not enough for what his manager wanted me to pay him. So, we went our separate ways. About 6 weeks ago, I got a call from him. And I didn't pick up the phone because I was like, the guy probably butt dialed me. I'm not going to So he texts me 2 seconds later and he's like, Deb, it's Antonio. Can you give me a call? And I'm like, okay, sure, whatever. This is really weird. So he had this idea for a script and he wanted me to jump in and write it because it's kind of spiritual and dark and a thriller. And it's everything that I'm into writing. And he's like, I thought of you. And he's like, the minute I came up with this idea, it was like, I got to get in touch with Deb because she could write this. So I agreed to it and I started doing it. And literally oh God, I guess it was a week and a half ago, this guy that I have known for a while, I was talking to him online and he was like, that film you're doing, it's the whole cast is conservative. They're all Nazis and white supremacists. And I'm like, what? No, what are you talking about? I'm on the group chat. They're all nice. Nobody talks about hate or politics or anything. And he's like, I'm telling you right now, you proceed with writing that script and you will never work again in this business. And I was enraged. I was like, are you freaking kidding me? These people are so nice. And And then, I mean, I don't go in and like do background checks on people to find out like what their political party is, or, you know, how many kids they have, or if they're married, or where they live, or I don't check any of that stuff out. I go by like, you know, the way somebody is with me. And apparently I'm not supposed to do that, because I was told that it's my responsibility to do background checks on people and make sure like all this stuff about them. And I'm like, I was very, very upset. And finally, like the next morning I woke up and I tossed and turned that whole night. And I was like, what am I going to do? Because I really like this script. The people are all so nice. Nobody has ever shown any signs. And I'd been on the group chat with them for 3 weeks and done Zooms with them all. And nobody had ever shown any signs of being like bad or white supremacist or anything, nothing. And I was like, okay, I need to follow my heart. And my heart is telling me that I need to write the script. There's nothing political in it. It's a great adventure. It's like Indiana Jones meets Star Wars mixed with like Avatar, the animated series. It's freaking cool. It's fun. It's like, I like that. And I was like, if I write this and I never work again in the business, am I willing to be in that position? Guys, wait, my dogs are. The solution. And I thought, you know, it's really sad. If I never act again, then I guess that's what's going to have to happen. And I'm going to do what my heart is telling me to do, and not what somebody is trying to like peer pressure me or shame me into. And so I'm writing this great script, and it's great. And I hope that the world can possibly like see all these people that have had these labels put on them. I mean, what the hell? Like, everyone's afraid of labels, but then everyone's like eager to label people. Right. And it's really making me furious. And I'm sorry, I'm completely monopolizing this. You asked me what I'm doing, but this is like really a
No, that's
thing.
okay. That's fine.
I'll wrap this up quickly. So anyway, I'm writing the script, and the whole first draft should be done this week. And in the meantime, though, like once I made that commitment in my heart and said, I'm going to follow my heart. And unless I see someone behave badly, I'm going to dismiss whatever anybody else is saying about anyone, really. Like, unless I know it myself, I'm done. So the crazy thing is I've gotten like 4 or 5 auditions this week in the middle of a freaking pandemic. Like, what the heck? I guess like I'm not that shunned just yet, but whatever. I guess whatever. I just, at this point, whatever. Like, the whole world is falling apart and turning upside down. So maybe in the end, you know, we'll find a whole new way of being where, like, you know, people just learn to shut up and live from their hearts. I don't know. I'm a little passionate about this.
Well, amen. You know, I think that this whole thing is about everything coming from the heart and the passion and all this other stuff. So, and you definitely have it. There's no question. So what's up with you, Noah? What are you doing?
EcoCast, man. I mean, it's like 6 self-tapes this week. It's like everybody's like, yeah. I mean, it's constant, man. And you know what? I think it's a great thing, great tool to have. It's not like the old days when, you know, you'd look in backstage and then you'd send a picture in the mail. I mean, it's great to be able to submit a video to people, but what's interesting is it, unless you meet somebody in person, I've always felt you really don't get the true gauge of who they are, what they can do. But a lot of eco-casting, a lot of people with, you know, the same idea that when things open up, when things ease up, we're going to get things going again. And I believe that. I believe it will happen. I believe that they'll be creative enough to find a way to shoot safely. But, you know, some things have been outright canceled, which is tough. But, you know, look, that's the way it is now. Like Deb said, the world's falling apart. So the fact that we're actually here talking and that we're healthy, we're doing all right is, you know, look, silver lining, man. I mean, it is what it is. I got no complaints.
We're the lucky ones. We are the lucky ones in this world.
Whatever.
Whatever.
I'm just saying we are. Look, you know, look at the shit going on, man. I mean,
it's true.
It's pretty bizarre.
It's crazy what's going on. And, you know, I mean, and it's getting worse, it seems, every night with all the bad things that are happening. And And there's so many bad things happening that it's hard even to keep up with it. I mean, just the death, the riots, the pandemic. I mean,
well, I mean, look, you have the riots. People have been pent up with the pandemic. Then you got this dirtbag cop that leans on a guy's neck and kills him. This Floyd guy. I mean, this guy should have been charged within a day. They dragged their feet and got all these people pent up. They're sitting inside. It's like, Rawr!
Right.
And now they're out. I mean,
it's tough. It's tough. It's and you know. You have the peaceful protesters and those who might be taking advantage of the situation or who have just have unbelievable hate. It's all bad.
It's an opportunity. And look, we got a situation where you have to wear masks anyway. Hey, you got a mask on anyway. It's like,
right.
It's bizarre. It's a mixture of things we've never seen before, but I believe that we'll get through it.
Well, we will. We have to get through it. I mean, you know, you have to be optimistic, because if you're pessimistic, then it's like one of these disaster movies that go really bad. But I think in the end, the question is, when is the end? Things will get back to some sort of normal. And
I don't think anything's ever going to be normal again. I think, like, you know, there are realities that have been exposed. There are truths that have been exposed, especially with you know, it turns out that guy that killed George, he actually had a lot of issues. He had a lot of, like, you know, potential charges brought up against him, and they just got dismissed one after the other. So, like, he thought he was invincible. Like, that kind of shit has to stop. It's got to stop.
It's true.
And so, you know, in regard to that, the whole protest thing completely is logical. Taking it to the point where, like, they're burning down Brooklyn, that's a whole different thing.
But the other thing is that it is normal. You know, it still is normal because the same stuff has been happening for hundreds of years. So it's a bad part of the normality of things. It's just that, like what Will Smith said, is now, you know, nothing's really changed except now people are videotaping it. I mean, this has been going on for years and years and decades and centuries. I mean, it's just bad news. And maybe the new normal
War riots,
will be better.
Remember New York Civil War riots? You know, in the 1860s, there you had the Civil War riots that were a 4-day riot where the city was basically destroyed.
Right.
It's civil rights riots. I mean, riots through this.
But it's terrible. It's terrible. So, but I'm optimistic because I'm an actor, and I need to act. You know, so I could act crazy or I could act. You know, I just need to act, and that's it. If I was acting, then everything would be normal. No.
You know, one thing that I believe is going to come out of this, because, you know, one of the things that even, like, my friend Dawn McKenna, the casting director, she told me that there's, like, all these new rules that SAG is, like, trying to establish so that people can shoot without, you know, problems or whatever. And one of the things is that, like, they're going to insist on much smaller crews, that kind of thing. Like, I specialize in small crews. Like, I'm indie, you know?
Right.
And I think, if anything, like, those of us that are in this indie world, like, this is our time to really, like, stand up and be like, hey, I already know how to do this. I know how to, like, make a movie with a 5-person crew. I know how to do that. And I think another thing that would be really valuable, like, I'm getting an antibody test tomorrow morning, and I think it would be really good if, you know, like, if I got in touch with you guys and I was like, hey guys, I have, like, the antibodies, and you guys are like, oh, me too. We could go get together and we could shoot something. We could.
That's right.
There's no reason why we couldn't. That's how I feel. I mean, I hope that's not a controversial thing. I don't know. Half the time, like, if, you know, once something comes out of my mouth, I'm like, uh-oh, should I have said that? But
no, that wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad thing. It was a good thing. And testing has been a problem, you know, and a combination of not having enough tests and people might be a little afraid to take the test, you know.
It's in the infancy, and at some point, the testing is going to get to the point where you can test at home. I mean, you're going to see these tests in the dollar store in about 5 years. I mean, I'm serious now. The truth is that we were caught off guard. We weren't prepared. We hadn't been preparing. And science is at such a point now with its abilities that we'll get a handle on it, man. And then all will be revealed. Everyone will know if they've had it or do have it. And I'm a firm believer that there will be a vaccine and a treatment. And you know what? It's, you know, look, in a sense, we're lucky it's happened now. I mean, I don't know how they dealt with the Spanish flu in 1918. I don't know how they dealt with it.
It lasted for years.
Without the the technology and the minds and the ability to computers we have now and all that good stuff.
Well, I feel a little bad for my kids. You know, I have a son who's 26 and a daughter who's 22. And when I was 26 and 22, you know, other than AIDS, which was going around, but I didn't think I was going to catch that. But this is such a, you know, such a terrible disease. It's so contagious that, you know, you could just breathe and get it. And I just feel like they're losing time. And that to me is sad because, you know,
and
it's
your
just
father's
sad.
generation, the World War II generation as well, the young generation, the older generation. This is going to be the thing they have to fight at the end of their lives after what they've done their whole lives. It's a disgraceful, horrible situation we're in, and it's revolting to me. But I don't have the answer about how to deal with it because I'm not a scientist or whatever.
Do you have kids, Noah?
Yeah, I have a daughter. She's 16. So she has doing school from home, and luckily the school was equipped properly to be able to do the Zoom schooling. But it's very very tough. It's a tough time. It's a tough time for everybody, but I'm proud. I think she's handled it well. But it's really interfered with people's growth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
I have 2 kids.
Is so like electronic. Everybody's on their phones all the time.
Right. So it's the same thing for them.
Right.
Right.
I noticed. I mean, my kids are handling it pretty well. My daughter's 16 as well, and my son is 17.
Right.
And you know, they have their Zoom school Monday through Thursday from like 10 till noon. I'm like, what do they do in school Monday through Friday, like 7 to 3,
right.
that like they're able to get this done in 8 hours, and they're both loving it. They're like loving it because, you know, I bring them coffee and breakfast in their bedrooms, and then they like hang out and they do their Zoom right from their bed. And then at noon they like go out and they work out. And my daughter lays in the sun on the trampoline, and things have opened up enough here that, like, you know, kids are starting to get together. So like kids will go out and they'll like ride bikes together at 2 o'clock. And, you know, by noon, there's all these little kids on my street running around on scooters and on their bikes. And these are kids that normally, my kids included, would have like after school, like they're in school till 3, then they have like sports until 4, then they have piano until 5, then they have this until 6. And these kids were constantly just like running, scheduled to like the point where you never see children outside. And now, like, I see kids playing until, like, when we were little, until like after dark. And I'm like, this is the best thing that has come out of it, because, like, you know, finally it's true that like everyone's been so locked into their screens. But now that it's like, okay, well, all you have is your screens. They're like, I don't want to do that. I want to go outside and play. And it's like, oh, so that's what it would take. That's what it would take to get them off their screens. It's pretty, that's the good part. That's the best, that's the good thing that's come out of it. And hopefully they will stay in appreciation once this ends. And it will end. Everything like this always wraps up. Herd immunity will eventually happen somehow. But I really hope that this generation that's going through this realizes how important actual human connection is. And I'm reminded of it now too. Like, I can't wait until like the day I actually can be with you guys again, you know?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Oh, my dog.
We'll get together, yeah.
Wait 1 second. I just lost power.
Go ahead, we'll wait for you.
Yeah, you know, my one thing. I mean, we'll wait, but I'll also talk. My son and daughter and I, all 3 of us are working from home, so it's like, I mean, I'm working like 8-9 hours a day. Whereas when I used to go to, when I was working I used to work at Maiden Lane. I still do, but you know, we're not going downtown. It would take me 3.5 hours or so round trip, and then I'd work my 8 hours. Now, I wake up, I work out, I drink some coffee, I watch cable news. I start work at 9, I finish at 5. My wife and I go to the park, stay in the car, we look outside. and wish that we could walk around comfortably. We could, but we're lazy. We'll go maybe get some takeout, come home. And those 3.5 hours that I was using for my round trip for work, now I'm trying to rest, even though I still wake up at the same time. But at least that aspect of it has been pretty good. The thing that's killing me is what's happening to the kids, but everyone goes through crap, so.
Yeah, I mean,
that's it.
This will be their thing, and they're going to be the generation that remembers it at that age, and we're going to be the generation that can deal with it. We're not going to be the generation that folds under the pressure and can't handle it.
Mine was Vietnam, right? That's the whole thing.
There's been so much shit through history. I mean, it's not the Black Death in Europe that wiped out 2/3 of Europe. I mean, look, humanity is strong. Humanity can survive. Humanity is resilient, and we will get through this.
But one thing that Deb said that really hits home for me is that my dad's 105 years old, and I've seen him twice. I might go there again today, but the whole thing is I mean, we see him on FaceTime, but
it's horrible.
You know my dad, Noah, so it's like it's a situation where
you want to spend as much time with him as you can now. I mean, look, he's 105 for crying out loud. God bless him.
Wow.
And you know what? This is precious. Every minute you have with him now is precious time. And that's what I'm talking about. It's revolting and horrific that this has robbed people of connections to people in that older generation. This should not be the way the chapter ends. This can't be.
I agree. But he's still healthy. So the chapter hasn't ended yet. So there's still hope.
Yeah, that's my point. This can't be that last chapter. This cannot be it. It cannot be.
I'm really hoping that when this does end, when things start to lift, I know for myself, like I want to run to my parents and spend like a week with them. And before it was like, oh, well, but I have this and I have that. Now it's like, no, there are no excuses anymore. Like if there's the ability to like go and hang out with my family, I want to touch them. I want to hug them. I want to like have dinner with them and talk and,
But actually, yesterday we went to see my daughter and my son. We went to Connecticut where my daughter lives and works, and my son is up in Massachusetts with my wife's sisters, staying at her house just to get away from Brooklyn because the concentration of people in Brooklyn was a little bit too scary. So we actually got together for the first time in 2.5 months, and we had a meal, but at 6 feet apart, and some Thai food. It was good. We didn't touch each other, but we did touch each other with, here. So it was good to get together. And, but I miss hugging my daughter. I miss hugging my son, He might be 26 years old, but he's still my little boy, and it's rough. It's a rough situation. I definitely miss kissing my dad. That's one thing. I mean, my dad is a slobberer. And you know that, Noah. Noah played my father's son. He played my brother, and my father played my father, and
Albert, pop. No, that's not the line. Stop. Pop. That's not the line. You say it. You look at you like, okay.
No, but it was great. My dad is
good.
My dad's a lover.
He's a good guy. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
He's a great guy.
And let him keep on being
I want to mention. So Debbie said something before that I want to key on. She said, when I was a kid, coffee was like an adult drink, right? I remember in the mornings, my mother would be drinking cold coffee, and everybody used to smoke cigarettes. And it was like nowadays, the kids, it's like the coffee generation, man. And I remember just being told, no, that's an adult drink. But everybody's drinking coffee now, and it's wild, man. I don't know why that strikes me as funny, but it just does. I mean,
my daughter was
Emma with her friends, and they got the Starbucks cups. Like Jesus, when I was that age, it was like, stay away from the coffee.
Yeah, my kids.
I don't know.
Especially my daughter's like addicted to Dunkin' Donuts coffee. I mean, she's like,
yeah,
it's amazing. It's crazy.
I mean, even younger than that. I mean, they're 8 and 9 years old. They're pops. Give me a cup of coffee. Yeah, okay. Do you remember the coffee was like this mysterious adult thing that
that tasted like crap. At least that's how I felt when I was a kid.
Yeah, back in the day, they didn't have the things they have now, like, the French vanilla creamer you put in the damn thing. It's like a milkshake. It's like, yeah, give me some coffee. I love it.
Sort of like making the vapes with the
Fill it to the rim
flavors.
with brim.
Right. It's crazy. It's nuts. But life is good. I'm happy we were able to get together. You know, it was fun today, and it's amazing. It's going to be before noon, and we're going to have shot 2 different shows in one day.
No, that was good. We had a good show today.
Yeah.
We could actually do a whole soap opera like this. You know that?
That's a thought. And,
I mean, it would be great if we actually get to the point where we're able to be together, and then, you know, we can do the follow-up, where we're, you know, we rekindle, we're sitting side by side, having the issue, whatever.
We will, but we're definitely going to shoot that thing with Lindley, which I'm really looking forward to. And I do have one of his films called The Rodneys. I'm going to be sending it to you. It was one of my favorite films, and this guy's very talented dude. And when you see this, you'll see what I'm talking about. But, you know, I hate to say this because it was so much fun. And again, it's always these situations when the episodes are the best that they go the fastest. But there's just one thing left to say.
Uh-oh.
That's a wrap. Good night, folks.